Want to add to the agenda or do anything different?
Move
I'll-
approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. It's approved. And then we had the March minutes distributed. They were quite extensive, and there were no grammatical or spelling errors. It was wonderful.
Yep.
Yep.
Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Matthew, take it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same side. So ordered. The first item on the agenda is the golf report, and I see that we have our manager, Paul, here by remote access. Welcome.
Hey, hello. Yeah, I guess as far as things to report, there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground yet. I was up the, looks like on number nine hole that tree that kind of blocks your line of sight on number 9. That tree has come down, so that's gonna make that hole a little bit different.
Is that on the right side of the fairway?
It's right on the left-hand side, right down at the bottom of the hill. Big pine tree.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one has snapped off. It's like there's, it's a big tree, but looks like there's just a little, rot that allowed it to break in the wind. So that's going to change that hole visually a little bit. Other than that, we're just kind of waiting to see what we get out there once the snow gets off.
Do I infer correctly, Paul, that we had an adequate snow cover early enough, and so we shouldn't have a lot of winter kill if we're lucky?
Well, yeah, it's just a matter of luck. The amount of snowfall is kind of a factor. The only thing that has me worried was I think it's about December 17th. We had, must have been 3-4 inches of rain that came down heavy and then froze quick, and that's a concern.
Ouch.
As far as how much of that ice stays formulated there, and you can just have a little anoxia, basically, suffocating the grass. Really, it's a bad kill, but I'm not going to know anything about that until after the snow's gone and look at the turf a little bit. The first year I was out here looking at the grass, there was grass I thought was dead, and it came back. Last year we had some grass that I thought was dead, and it was dead. So you just kind of take what you get and go from there. We have a little bit of a short season, so yeah, we always hope for the best.
Is there more for you to tell us?
Well, no, not really. I had a note from Emily, and it sounds like she's teaming up with the Lions Club. They're interested in having their tournament back up here at the Gunflint Hills, where they had gone down to Lutzen for the last couple of seasons, and sounds like they're more interested in coming back and playing in town. So I'll have to look at the dates on that. They're looking at they're proposing fisherman's the fisherman's weekend. So I'd have to look at that and see what we can propose that's gonna be a fit. It's a busy weekend, so have to see what we can fit in there.
I hope you can work it out in some way. There'll be a lot of people up here for the fisherman's picnic, and some of them don't fish.
Yeah. We had. I'd have to look at my records on that, but yeah, we had a good weekend last year. And we have a couple of traditional things that there's a couple of little mini tournaments that have gone around that time. I know that we've got there's a big family event on Friday there. They kind of come through and blast through the course. It seems like they use the course for about 3 hours and get their whole family through the course in that time. I don't remember. It seems like we had a couple of little mini events like that, but I think what Emily's got in mind is, if it's like the tournament that you get for the Y, it's pretty big. It's a big fundraiser, so they'd be looking at taking over the course for pretty much the day. So I'd have to look and see what we can do there. We have kind of a small window of time to generate our funds there. So I guess we'll look at it. And that weekend, is that just Friday through Sunday, or does it go on through Monday, or the activities on Fisherman's Weekend?
I'm not all that familiar with the Fisherman's Picnic. Does
It's
anybody else
Thursday
have
to Sunday.
information about that?
Thursday through Sunday. Okay.
So I got a question, just because I don't know, being new. What's your grounds maintenance crew like? How many people, and then or the clubhouse staff or crew or?
Well, it's always been a challenge to get help there, but we've seemed to get a really good crew. It just kind of fell together really good last year. I've only got a couple employees on the golf course. I've got Twinkie. He works full time. He's he does everything. He's like does all the mechanical work, and he's versatile. He can do most tasks there, and he's been on the grounds. He's been a groundsman. I think he was there 6 years prior to me coming, so he's been great. Paul Peterson, he is on staff there mowing all the time. He's done a fantastic job. He's been very dependable. And then let's see, we have Jay that he's a student that had come up and just did some part-time work for us on the golf course, and he did some detailing last year. Excuse me. Last year he started doing some mowing. This year it sounds like he's maybe interested in doing a little bit more. So that's it for our outside crew, and then inside crew we had basically two employees that in myself that were pretty much doing the majority of the tasks last year. It was hard to get employees that could do that job. It's not an extremely difficult job. It's just it's just redundant. And but those people are coming back. They aren't going to be working as many hours as they did last year. And then I've also got 2 other additional people lined up to be working in there also. So I've got maybe 4 people to rotate there. It should be pretty good this year for employees up there, right off the bat.
Good. Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Is there anything more that you want to tell us today, Paul?
No, nothing really that's new, I guess. You had asked about marketing and things like that, and there's some additional funds or whatever. I guess my thoughts along those lines is I think we're probably most of our work there is going to be probably just social media. We're going to be strong on social media. Also, we're going to be, getting our applying for our license that's has beer and wine that we had not had in the past. I think we can, tie some of that into our advertising too. What that's going to do to change our clubhouse, I don't know, but I think it'll be very helpful.
I've got a couple thoughts for the future, not necessarily for tomorrow.
Yeah.
it occurs to me that some of our Canadians who come this far might be attracted to some kind of a package deal that you might work out with Lutzen so that they can play their warm-up round here and then play 18 more down there, or vice versa. They can cool down at our place on the way back. It's something you might want to chat with the Lutzen guy about to see whether or not there's anything that would make any financial and business sense. And the other
Yeah.
thing that occurred to me is that we used to have a high school golf program, and we don't anymore. As I understand it, the guy who was the coach of that team is still teaching there. And I would encourage you to have a conversation with him about whether there was anything we could do to encourage more of the youth golfers.
Okay, the person that used to be coach is still teaching there? Are you talking about Scott or?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never did learn the person's name. I just was told that the former golf coach was still teaching there at the high school. It
Yeah.
occurs to me that we might possibly want to think about a first tee program. And especially if he was interested in doing something with it, I suspect we could find a fair number of volunteers who would be willing to assist in that line. And I know there are people with clubs in their garage they're not using that we could use as part of that program. But I just throw those on the table for you to put in your hat and talk to whomever it makes sense and see what we might do.
Yeah, I can reach out to Scott when I get up there and see. Yeah, I think we had talked a little bit about teaching some, like lessons and that sort of thing. I've got a contact number of someone that used to teach down at Inger, and then I think he got a little disgruntled when they closed down Leicester or something like that, and I heard he's gone down to Cloquet, and so I've got his number. I was just going to contact him and see about if he'd be interested in doing some sort of seminars like that. Other than that, I was thinking about your comments about that. We've got a really good practice facility. I think the main thing as far as if people want to improve their game, it just really, it takes time. You have to come up and you have to practice. We've got a decent driving range, practice range. So that part of the facility, I was thinking that we could, there's no reason to try to get together with us. We could try to gather up. There's so much information online. I mean, really fantastic visual aids as far as anything you want to do, whether it's, from your drive to your short game. We could kind of get a compilation of things together for someone that's interested in that. I was thinking about trying to come up with something like that we could put out, for anybody that's interested. But if we're going to do something like that, it'd probably just have to be something in a formula where we talk to the person and see what they were interested in working on, and just compile some data for them, gather some lessons, and then work with them on our site to, with that information. And it's really about just putting in the time and
That's terrific.
in working on
The
it.
one thing that occurs to me is if there's a time when the driving range is typically empty, we might set a time when high schoolers or junior high schoolers could come out and use the driving range at minimal cost or even no cost for a certain time. So it would be a kind of a social thing as well as a teaching thing. Again,
Yeah.
just something for you to put in your hat and think about what might work.
Yeah. If we can, anything we can do to try to encourage youth play, new play is always good. You bet.
So what was the former coach who's still teaching, Scott? What's the last name?
Steinbach.
Steinbach.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have comments or questions? Well, we're looking forward to another good year. Dave Sari and I are getting ready for it by going out to an elder hostel in Utah at the end of April. So we should be coming back all fired up.
Oh, you're going to get some early golf in, huh?
Yeah, the Rhodes Scholar has a thing at St. George. It includes a tour of Zion National Park.
Oh, there you go.
Well, good. Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody. Yeah, we're looking forward to getting out and playing some golf.
Paul, I've got a question. We've had a couple of interested season pass parties. When do you expect to start selling season passes?
Well, we haven't really done anything in the past as far as, you know, early purchases and that sort of thing. It's typically been just as soon as we're open. And that's going to be, you know, probably somewhere in early May, you know, depending on, you know, when the snow's leaving. I mean, last year we were open, our opening date was the 8th of May. So yeah, I mean, and you know, I'll certainly be there earlier than that and everything, but you know, typically about the beginning of May, people just start coming in and buying their passes and checking in and that sort of thing.
Do we have the capacity to have people charge their credit card for their season pass in some way?
You know, I don't know that we have a pre-purchase thing. We had looked at doing that with our system, our check-in system, but we never got into that. We just didn't have strong enough demand for people making, you know, advanced tee times, and we just, I mean, things have been getting increasingly better each year. I mean, when I first started this job, you know, the people were bragging that you didn't have to make a tee time, and you know, now we suggest that you do make a tee time, but you know, it's never been.
Well, I wasn't thinking of tee times. I was thinking of people buying a season membership, calling you up on the phone and giving you the credit card number. Is that something that we could do?
Yeah, we can do that. Once we're on site, we can take that information and run it through. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, in fact, right now, Dave, I think we're offline with our account right now anyway, aren't we?
That's right. Yeah, we won't activate Lightspeed until May 1st.
Yeah, so probably after May 1st, we'll be able to run things through our account.
That could be part of our first social media blast.
Does any of that cross over into your rec park system at all? No.
No, it's separate.
Okay.
You can access it though,
Oh, I was just wondering
because it's the iPad, so you can.
Yeah, it's in the cloud. We could open it up at the park, but it's a separate app from our booking software.
Okay.
So just how many rounds are we talking about when you rounds you're averaging a month or a week, or I don't know how you look at it, but
Per year, we could tell you.
per year?
That's always been a really good question. Slightly elusive because we haven't been tracking season pass holder rounds. We're hoping to develop like a click card UPC scan for season pass folks.
Right.
We know daily rounds we sell, I think it was close to 3,000 last year, Paul.
For the season, yeah.
Yeah.
Dailies.
Yeah, I think we're an average day. I mean, a slow day, we're putting, probably 20 rounds through, 10 rounds, 20 rounds, and probably, it varies, we get into where we're running. We have a sign-up sheet, and each of those probably contains about 30 entries. And, when we're getting busy, we're running through probably a sheet and a half to 2 sheets. So, it's going to be from, 40 to 60 a day, but it varies. But yeah, I know what our average income seems to be, and that's kind of reflective of that. But if we're doing, anywhere close to $1,000 a day, that on average, that'd be great, you know. So, you know, and of course, when it's busy, we're much higher than that. And it's, you know, I remember when I first started, you know, we'd run to look at the till at the end of the day, and it just wouldn't be that high. I was kind of surprised, but it's really improved, you know. I think, you know, this year, if our play stays at the rate it was at last year, and then the borders open, you know, I think we're going to be very close to being in the black numbers this year. So
That would please the city council no end.
yeah, I mean, for a, you know, municipal situation, I think it's really good, because I mean, you're just, you know, you've got a really nice amenity there, and something people can do while they're in town, keeps them in town. It's a great little course. So yeah, if you can do that, I think I think it's really great.
Do you know what the total season passes were last year?
65.
I don't.
65?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's about right.
Which is up. When
Yeah.
Paul first started, it was about 50.
Nice. Good.
You know, similar with the revenue, I think in the last 3 years, we've gone from 100,000 to 170,000.
Wow.
So we've really upped our game up there, thanks to Paul and the crew.
Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, so just kind of keep it going. There's room for more golfers, and the course was in good shape last year. We had kind of a shape. You wouldn't be thinking about that now, but we had we had a lot of drought last year.
Yeah.
Extreme. So it was kind of a neat. There's always a challenge, and that certainly was our challenge last year. It went well.
I'd say we probably have room for more. I recall playing at Hiawatha when I was much younger in Minneapolis, and weekdays they would be doing 200 rounds, and weekends they'd be doing 300 rounds at the same time
Yeah.
as at the private courses during the week.
Yeah.
They'd be seeing 20 to 40 rounds.
Yeah, but they don't have like bear and moose going across their course down there.
Anybody have anything else? Paul or anybody on the group here? Well, we thank you. That's a nice report, and we'll look forward to your May visit.
Okay, take care, everybody.
I trust you'll be back here by the first Tuesday in May?
Oh yeah, I'll be
Outstanding.
probably be moving up there next week. So
Thank you.
Paul.
Bring a shovel.
Really?
see you later.
Take care.
He hasn't been to this campground, I don't
Okay,
Yeah,
next
but-
item on the agenda is city council report. Craig, do you have something for us?
Not really pertaining to the golf course. We added, the PUC added 2 new members. We got two new members to sit on the PUC, like we got a new member for the park board, Bill Hansen and Charles Hathaway. So we have a full board now, which is kind of nice. We can have meetings on regular schedules again. As far as anything that we talked about recreation-wise during the golf course, last week's meeting was kind of a slight agenda, so there wasn't really a lot involved in there. We talked about some housing stuff with the county. That's going to open up some avenues to maybe help the city a little bit with securing affordable housing. It's a county-wide program, but it does also help Grand Portage, the city of Grand Marais, Cook County, all the way to the county line. Let's see, that's about everything that I have for city council information.
This leash discussion caught our attention.
Oh, yeah, well, that, I don't know where that's gonna go. I think they're looking into maybe the wording of our current leash law, but I think that the general consensus is we might have a situation that can be handled maybe in-house on what's going on with animals off leash versus animals on leash. We have a leash law in the city limits of Grand Marais. There isn't one in the county, but there is in the city limits. So we do have had some conversation, or I should say, asking of information if there's such a thing as a nuisance leash law. In other words, dogs that are nuisances need to be on a leash. Dogs that aren't, that are obedient and that have a really good, well-trained, don't need to be on a leash. But I don't know how that would work with the visitors that we get into our community that bring their pets up here. How do you know whether a dog is a nuisance or not until it becomes one? And if it's not on a leash, I mean, it just opens up a whole ramification of you're either going to have a leash law or you're not going to have a leash law.
Yeah.
And I think for the safety of the pet, and also the safety of small children, and also for the protection of people that just don't like to be around animals or don't trust dogs, I think, we've always had a leash law for a reason, and I think it's just been a safety reason. So I don't know. There's some wording in it that we might look into. Whether that can be modified or not, I don't know yet. I don't know how that's gone. But I'm sure we'll be talking about it at least one more time here to see where we end up going with that. Because I know the rec park has a lot of pets in it in the summertime.
Do I
A
recall
lot
that
of
there's
pets,
a,
like every camper pretty much has.
We got
Yeah.
a 2-dog minimum is the
Oh, you have a
joke.
2-dog per site. And there's as many animals in the rec park as there are people in the summertime.
And we would keep a leash.
And everybody needs to
Law.
be on a leash.
do I recall that we're looking forward to having a dog park in?
Yeah, they're
Sometime this summer?
They're raising money for that, and I'm not sure when groundbreaking is going to take place on it. Do you have a time? I don't have a time on it. I know they put up a sign, and
We just did an article on WTIP.
Yeah, I
think, on
see
it.
there's
seen the
been
sign.
land
They got some
allocated
dates in
for
there.
it, so.
And who's going to be in charge of that? Dave?
No.
I don't think it's part of the
You-
park and rec system.
No, it's not. It'll be a
Go Dog North.
Go Dog North, yeah.
Okay.
The organization will be in control of that.
But it's city
operation.
property.
Yes. Yep.
Is all that city property right there, that whole corner?
I think all of it from the water holding facility all the way up to the other water tank is all city property.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's part of that Sawtooth Bluffs.
Bluffs is the north, or
Right.
anything north of that is Sawtooth Bluffs, yeah.
There's a master plan, but there isn't a city-county joint powers board to administer or manage that land yet. So we're relying on the user groups to do the management, but it's evolving.
It would seem to me there might not be too much pressure from city residents to have dogs off leash because they don't have to go very far to get into the county. Or when the dog park comes, that'll be an alternative as well.
Well, the dog park will help people exercise their animals and so forth, but this is more about if you have a pet and you're walking down a street in town, do you need it on a leash or not?
Right.
And some people's animals need to be on a leash. Some people's pets don't need to be on a leash because they're very obedient to direction and that kind of thing. But it's not universal type fix, so.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you can make a subjective law with that.
You
It's
can't,
like
it can't
it's
be,
either or.
you can't be
It's on or
subjective,
off.
you can't pick and choose, so I mean, it gets to be,
On or off.
right. So what's better for
I don't
the
think-
general
What's that?
public?
That's discrimination.
Determination
No,
thing,
no.
yeah.
It
You
is,
don't
but that's
expect a revolution from
dogs.
dog
I bet
owners
dogs run
if
at me
we
and
don't
stuff,
change
you
the
know?
law.
No, I don't.
Okay.
We'll
No.
keep a leash law in the park
Discrimination.
no matter what.
Yeah, I think the rec park would probably maintain a leash law. Most people that come up here and visit are familiar with their town and their area, and most places have leash laws and, pick up after your pet and that kind of thing, so that helps in our rec park functioning.
Yeah, those bags seem to work well in the rec park. I mean, do you see any problems, or is that taken care of? There's still,
There's always one or two that ruin it, but
Yeah.
for the most part, people use them.
Be a county dog, probably.
If that's
What's
all
that?
you
Be a
get.
county dog.
could be a county dog. Yeah, that's a county dog.
So that's all I have for
All
city.
right, anybody have any questions they want to ask about the city before we move on to the Parks Report, which we have a written 2/3 of a single-space page? Do you want us to read that before you talk, or do you want to just talk?
I'll be happy to talk our way through it.
Okay.
It looks
Okay.
big, but it's pretty brief. Just want to let you know we've got all of our dates open now for summer reservations. October opened up last week. Kind of a slower month, so slower traffic, but now we're accepting all dates, and we're planning the season May 1st to October 23rd. That's the water season, that is, with bathhouses open. We are getting some calls now, folks looking for April. We'll be still in winter mode. We have electric sites for $20 a night, rustic sites for $10 a night. No need to reserve, just show up. We're working with seasonal staff. We sent recall letters out in March, got a good response. Most folks are coming back. Do have a few openings. Had a good round of applications a couple weeks ago. Hired 3 good candidates for seasonal maintenance workers. Still have 2 openings there. It sounds like Paul's all set at the course, but we'll always be interested in looking at good applicants. So if anybody knows any good summer folks, send us our way. And then the Community Connection Landing is the big capital project we're working on. I met with CJ this morning, Mike Roth. We all had a Zoom call, went over the final construction documents, the bid package. Got to run that through the city attorney, but the goal is to have that on the streets the next week for bidding. CJ's got some interested regional contractors, so we're hoping to get some reasonable prices this month. Sounds like that'll close April 28th or so that we can get that in front of the city council on their May meeting. Their first meeting in May is the 11th. Would be the best case for awarding that and commencing with construction this season. Everything's as we've seen. You know, we've got the art, we've got the arbor, we've got the landing. And then the other kind of FYI, get the expectation out now that it's going to be busy season, construction season, not only with the landing, if the price is right, but the Parkside project will be underway at the end of the road. KGM will be back to finish up the parking lot, the boat ramp itself, the docks, the landscaping, the stormwater management. That's all going to keep that area closed throughout the season, hopefully open that up late September.
And those docks are going to go in and out each year?
Yeah, right now we're looking at the same 30-foot roll-in spec, but there might be the potential to add a longer 50-footer as the ramp will go to a little bit deeper water, but they don't make roll-ins that long, so we'd have to maybe go with floaters, which would take some more maintenance we might be on board for. It's a little bit of a loose end. And then another project, Cook County Soil and Water Conservation District. They're going to be working up in the pond right at the start of the road, right under the highway. There's that large stormwater basin. The drainage there is going to be engineered to have more of a baffle that has, typical flow and then storm events, so we can discharge water out of there more controlled, keep some of the flooding downstream to a minimum.
So what happens to it now? It's unregulated. It just
It all flows
overflows
out,
and it's
yeah.
just down.
Yeah,
Too
and
much
it's a bit
flow.
low, so we get these big storm events and we get inundated into the campground. Some of the campsites that are on the lower side of that creek get flooded out
Right. Yeah.
in back of the ball field area in particular. That's
So are they
fully
working on
funded.
it, or just are they reconstructing it, or just doing the planning of it?
No, they'll be doing the actual construction. The planning has been about a year in. They're working with the Army Corps. They've got funding, and I expect that to start this spring, although I can't imagine it when it's wet and full of water. I would hope they wait till it dries out.
Right, yeah.
Which is usually June or July. Yeah, so those are the three known projects. There's also this chance that we'll be repaving the main road, 8th Avenue South. Last fall, I submitted for a state park road paving grant, and we'll know if we were awarded that grant this month in April. But then if we're awarded, it's about $100,000. We'd still have to bid it, and that's going to take time. We hope we can meet some deadlines there.
And that's just going all the way down to where the KGM site is?
Exactly.
It's that one main road.
Yeah. So busy season of construction ahead. We're trying to let our guests know as well, just so they're not coming in expecting peace and quiet.
I just out of curiosity, how do those other roads, how do they get maintained or maintenance, or have they been repaved, or what's theirs?
Yeah, we do have invested over the years, $20,000 here, $30,000 there, but we do a road assessment, and when things get really bad, we repave or overlay is the treatment. That was easier when Thorson's was in town doing pavement. I believe their asphalt plant is no longer. And so the whole city is now challenged with that, where we've got some utility cuts already that are open, and we're going to need out-of-town paving.
Anybody
Final
else
note.
have anything?
Yeah, final note, the
there more?
girls' high school softball season is the official start of spring in the park. They have 8 home games scheduled. The opener's the 19th. And if I can remember, I don't think they've ever been able to play on time.
What are
No,
the
it's
odds that the snow will be off the field by then?
0.
Zero.
We'll see, but yeah, typically they end up postponing or rescheduling their first few weeks and then play every day in May. It's a challenging season.
So the only other question I have is I know they talked about the Niji earlier, and is that still on track that they're going to be working down in there again?
As far as
you
I know, I haven't heard otherwise.
Okay. Someone asked me the other day, and I just said, yeah, they're planning on shoring it up over there before just so they can move it.
Right.
Anything else? All right. Any old business? We had one special event application for a rather thin application from Jim and Michelle Miller Music. I gather they want a busk.
That's right.
Do you consider the application sufficient?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much
This is going to be
like
part of
last
that
season.
same bunch of people like we had last time?
Exactly. Yeah, Pete K will run the schedule. They were on it last year. I did some follow-up with Pete after last month's meeting. We talked about how many times people are playing and what's too much. And because he was running it all on the Google Calendar, he was able to pull the numbers as to who played how often. So just more of an FYI, Bump played 35 times. Jim and Michelle Miller played 24 times. Joe Pollock and friends played 23 times. Pete K twice, Tom Knutson twice, and Fred Anderson once.
Do I gather that none of that caused any difficulty?
I didn't hear any direct feedback to the negative. There was a little discussion last month, about how much is too much.
Or how
Loud is.
Kay was mentioning how loud it was
Yeah.
at times, but
And so, like I said, I followed up with Pete on that discussion because he had already left the meeting. But he and the musicians are aware of it, and they're going to hopefully self-monitor and self-regulate.
It's not written in the application, but as I understand it, they don't start before 11 in the morning, and they quit by 10 at night.
That's right.
And that's part of any approval that we make.
That's right.
Anybody have any motions they'd like to make?
I'd move it to approve that application, yes.
Seconded by Mr. Nesham.
Good job.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing no opposition, that motion is approved. Any other new business people want to raise? Well, we've had a very efficient meeting. We're a half hour ahead of some schedule. Yes, sir.
Move adjournment.
Move adjournment.
And I move with
Any
them.
objection? There being none, y'all can go somewhere else.
Did you get
Thank
that?
you.
Notice that we didn't say movement.